Hi guys, and welcome back to the Red Mist podcast with me, Seshadri, and welcome to the match preview for the game between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Liverpool at Anfield. Yes, it's another home game for us yet again after the 1-1 draw against Brighton at the Amex Stadium. So we're back at Anfield, and the good news is that we will have 2,000 fans in attendance at Anfield. So for the first time, there won't be the fake crowd noises. There'll actually be real crowds there. It's not much compared to what Anfield's capacity is, but it is something and it is a start, and hopefully we can just build on it and get better from here. Obviously, with the news of vaccines and stuff, it's it's looking promising, but we don't know how long it'll be before we can fill out the stadiums as a whole. But Liverpool taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves coming off the back of a 2-1 win against Arsenal in the Premier League last week. The game, however, was obviously marred by the fact that Raul Jimenez had to go off very early on. In fact, after a dangerous head collision with David Luiz, he was diagnosed with a skull fracture. So, all the best of luck to him and in his recovery. And we hope he's back on the pitch playing for Wolverhampton soon. He's going to be a big miss for them, but I'll get to him and I'll get to the rest of the Wolves team as well. I'm really excited for this game. Two sides which play vibrant attacking football. Wolves are obviously in the Europa League. Not quite Champions League quality just yet, but it is definitely not a side that we can take lightly. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they looked composed even after Jimenez was off. They went on to win last week against Arsenal. Arsenal played quite badly. Wolves were the better team. They won 2-1 thanks to Pedro Neto and Daniel Podence, who are both going to play key roles today in the game against Liverpool as well. Wolverhampton not an easy side. They play attacking football, like I said, and there's going to be a lot of. I think it's going to be quite end to end. They've been without a few of their players for the last few games, but they will be back as well. I think Conor Coady has missed a fair few games, and he should be back for the Liverpool game as well. But Nuno Espirito Santo is a world-class manager, and he's going to have his side set up to play the game, and he's not going to sit back. He's not going to sort of hit on the counter and get a good result or something like that. Wolves will try to keep the ball, try to play with the ball, and they're a good team. They're a good team to watch, and it won't be an easy game, that's for sure. I tried to get a Wolves fan into this preview as well, just to try and get a guest on. It's been a fair while before we did a preview with a guest, but obviously, I couldn't find anyone, but that's just unfortunate. But we move on. Like I said, coming to Wolves, Raul Jimenez is going to be a big miss for them. He's not someone who. He's the thing with Raul Jimenez is he's good in the air as well as with his feet. So he brings others into play, which a lot of people underestimate, in the sense that he is the kind of player who can use his strength to hold off opponents. He creates chances for others. In fact, Joao Moutinho is the only player with more assists than Raul Jimenez, and the incredible fact is that this is since Jimenez joined Wolves, obviously, and the incredible fact is that Jimenez gets all his assists from open play, whereas Joao Moutinho actually takes set pieces and stuff. So it'll be a big miss, and his natural replacement on the bench is Fabio Silva, who was signed in the summer for some big money, but obviously Nuno's been very cautious with him. He's not introduced him fully as such. He's just sort of taking it slow with Fabio Silva, and he did come on against Arsenal to lead the attack, obviously, but didn't quite have the impact that I guess Jimenez has, and he was substituted late on in the game, when Wolves was 2-1 up and they wanted to defend the lead. I do think there is a chance Wolves will. In terms of formations and stuff, there is a chance Wolves could go with a 4-2-3-1. But the fact is that Conor Coady is back. Obviously he's had to stay out for some time because of COVID-19 protocols. He doesn't do well in a 4 at the back, and his natural thing is to, be in a 3 at the back. So I would assume that he could potentially start, especially since he's their captain as well. And he's done really well. He's established himself as an England international. And for me, Conor Coady, he would definitely, I think, start. And if he starts, I think it's going to be a three-man backline. Um, Wolves finished the game against Arsenal in a 3-5-2. Um, Adama Traore and Pedro Neto were the forwards. Ruben Neves had come on for Daniel Podence. Now, I don't know if that is going to be the case again this particular weekend. I don't know if 3-5-2 is the way they're going to go. I think personally, they might actually go with 3-4-3. I think that gives them kind of the best chance of success, in my opinion. The hard part, I think, for Wolves would be to replace Raul Jimenez's goals. And I think what is, yes, Daniel Podence can score, and yes, Pedro Neto can score. They've got, in fact, the last 4 goals for the club as well, if you exclude the Europa League. So, I think they have goals in them. It's just it may not be as free-flowing and as easy to find as it is when Jimenez is there. I think that's just my opinion on him. I think Jimenez is way more talented. It's just if I think he's like 29 or 30. So if age was on his side, I wouldn't have been surprised if big clubs are after him. I think, no disrespect to Wolves, what I mean by big clubs is Champions League clubs. Like if this was a 24-year-old Raul Jimenez, then I think I genuinely wouldn't have been surprised if he was linked to like your Manchester Uniteds or Arsenal or Chelsea, for example. So he's a really good talented striker, and he's going to be a big miss for them. Neto and Podence, they've found form. Like I said, they had the last 4 goals, and I think where they excel though is with Jimenez, because he's going to hold up and he's going to flick it on, and he's going to play those little passes, little through balls through for these two to run onto. So I think they excel when Jimenez is there, but without Jimenez, I think the idea is that Podence and Neto can both. They're both fearless, so they can carry the ball, they can take the ball, they can take on defenders as well. And, for me personally, I think that's, I just think that's a different sort of talent, and that's a different sort of threat that Wolves bring to Anfield. Obviously, you don't want to experiment when you're going to Liverpool, but it's Wolves, and they can adapt. They have the quality to adapt to any situation. Personally, I think it's going to be a solid game. I think you're looking at potentially a very entertaining game, just like the likes of, maybe not the likes of Leeds versus Liverpool at the start of the season, but maybe more. I'm thinking maybe more. Maybe more like Ajax versus Liverpool recently. So I think that's the kind of game that I'm looking at. I just think that Wolves are a threat, and they need to be dealt with as a threat and as a credible threat. And coming now to the Liverpool side of things, obviously Naby Keita and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So we'll start with the good news. So those two are back in full training now. Jurgen Klopp wasn't sure if they will be able to play the full 90 minutes or will they be on the bench. I personally think they're going to be on the bench, but if they can play the full 90, they will. I think they're going to be on the bench, though, for sure, if not the starting 11. So there are rumors going about that Mo Salah is going to be rested this game. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp, with scheduling as it is, he does tend to rotate players a lot. And Mo Salah, obviously, he's back from a COVID spell. And, he played 60 minutes or so against Brighton, and then he played the full 90 against Ajax, or almost the full 90 against Ajax. I don't quite remember. And then now he's playing against Wolves, and there's a chance he may be rested. He's, like I said, just back from COVID, so that's not, that's not ideal. That's not the game sort of. I mean, I don't know. Look, if he's capable of playing 90 minutes, I think I would still put him in 90 minutes, because the next game that we have is against Midtjylland. And Midtjylland, we've already gone through. We're first in the group. We don't need to field a full strong 11 against Midtjylland. So personally, I would play 90 if he could. Give him a rest against Midtjylland, and then back again for the Premier League the weekend after. But I mean, I don't know what Jurgen Klopp is thinking. If he plays Mo Salah against, against Midtjylland, that's perplexing to me. Alisson Becker does have an injury. Like, he missed the game against Ajax, obviously. So Quimmin Kelleher will probably start again, make his Premier League debut as well. So big night for him. He made his Champions League debut against Ajax. He's probably going to make his Premier League debut as well. James Milner and Xherdan Shaqiri remain sidelined, but recovery is good for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who is not too far away. Thiago is still in rehab, so he's not going to be playing, and obviously Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk are going to be missing. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think the lineup's going to be Quimmin Kelleher in goal, Nico Williams at right back, Joel Matip, Fabinho, Andy Robertson. So pretty much the same backline that played against Ajax. In terms of midfield, I would probably say Jordan Henderson, Curtis Jones, Gini Wijnaldum, again the same midfield that played against Ajax. And in terms of front three, if rumors are to be believed, Salah is going to be rested. So it'll probably be Firmino, Jota, and Sadio Mane. So yeah, I think that's going to be Liverpool's lineup. Paul Joyce, I think, obviously tweeted that Salah will be rested. I don't want that personally because he is my FPL captain, so it's not quite ideal for me, but we'll see how it goes. As for the Wolverhampton lineup, I think they're going to switch to a three at the back. They ended the last game playing a 3-5-2, obviously, like I mentioned, against Arsenal, but I don't think it's going to be a 3-5-3, 3-4-2. Sorry, what am I saying? 3-5-2. I think it's going to be a 3-4-3 or a 5-2-3, depending on how you look at it. I think Rui Patricio in goal is, it's not really a surprise. Back three is probably going to be Willy Boly, Conor Coady, and Roman Saiz, with Semedo and Marcal playing out on the wing-back positions on the right and left, respectively. In midfield, I'd expect Ruben Neves to come back into the starting lineup. He's been sort of in and out of the starting lineup. So Ruben Neves with Leandro Dendoncker. And then up front, we'll have the trio of Pedro Neto, Adama Traore on the wings, the left and right, respectively, and Daniel Podence up front. So for me, that's, I think, the best lineup that Wolverhampton can play. I think that's the lineup that'll carry the most amount of threat. Especially when you consider Adama Traore versus Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson's obviously going to be going back, and he's going to have to deal with a very physical specimen in terms of Adama Traore, and they can make runs at our centre-backs, Joel Matip and Fabinho, they're good centre-backs, but they're no Virgil van Dijk, and Fabinho is not even his natural position as well, even though he's quite good at playing centre-back. The others, there's two, sort of major storylines that are coming through in this game. One is Conor Coady is coming back to Liverpool as an England international for the first time. Since leaving Liverpool, obviously, he couldn't find a way into the first team at the time, had to leave Liverpool, went to Huddersfield, and then came to Wolves. And, even at Wolves, he was sort of like a bit part right back, bit part defensive midfielder until Nuno Espirito Santo came in and he was like, nah, you're going to play centre back and you're going to be really good at it. So, yeah. Conor Coady is going to be our centre-back, our centre-back, the one that got away, I guess. He does struggle in a 4 at the back, though, so I don't know if long-term he would have been good in a Liverpool setup, but definitely in a 3 at the back, in the way the Wolves play, he's brilliant. The other story, obviously, is the story of the Premier League, the summer signing of the season, Diogo Jota. I mean, he scored 9 goals in 15 games for Liverpool, and when he signed, I think every Liverpool fan was expecting him to be a backup to Mane, Salah, maybe even Firmino. But the seamless fashion in which he's settled into the team, and he fit like a hand to a glove, and it was perfect. And it's gone to the point where there are games where genuinely a 4-2-3-1 with Firmino, Salah, Mane, and Jota starting is not an unrealistic possibility. And obviously, I don't see that happening too much. But there are times where it has happened, and it will happen again going into the rest of the season. And it shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, Diogo Jota, 9 goals in 15 outings. He has an eye for goal. He scored prolifically for Wolves as well. In fact, when we signed him, and there was a stat which showed that his numbers were very, very similar to Sadio Mane. And if he turns out to be the kind of player that Mane turned out to be, I think that's just going to be amazing. And for me personally, I think Diogo Jota has been the signing of the season. I don't think there's a lot of people who disagree. So I think Jota starting Jota against Wolves and Coady against Liverpool they're going to be the two storylines for this game. Kickoff is at Sunday 7:15 p.m. In UK time, 12:45 in India. Venues are Anfield. Last season, this same fixture, Liverpool beat Wolves 1-0. The referee is going to be Craig Pawson for this game, and he has 3.5 cards per game. Good news is he hasn't given out a red card yet. He's officiated in 6 games this season. But I think that's pretty much where we are at when it comes to lineups and stuff. When it comes to potential formations and stuff. And as for match predictions, I am going to say that it is going to be a win for Liverpool. It's going to be a close one. I think we're going to keep our Anfield home record intact. But I do think it's going to be 1-0. I think it's going to be really, really close. I don't think it's going to be an out-and-out attack fest. I don't think it's going to be an out-and-out Liverpool attack fest. I think Wolves will have chances, and Kelleher will need to be at his best if he's going to stop the Wolves attack as well. And not just Kelleher, even the defense. But that brings me to the end of my preview for the Wolverhampton game tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoy the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this preview as well. I've got some other big things coming up this week. And stay tuned for that. Do follow the podcast. I appreciate all your support. Wherever you are, stay safe, stay well. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.